And we are live. Welcome to a special episode because two of the best underground podcasters talking hoops are back together in Mo Murphy and Chris LeBron. And this is a collab episode that will be up on both platforms, the Coach Mo Murphy podcast and the Off the Ball podcast. So this is a collab episode that we're going to do. So I'm not running it any more than he's running it, but I'm Coach Mo. I got my guy in the building, Chris LeBron. Chris, what's going on, brother?
Hey man, just finished watching, the dunk contest, 3-point contest. So can't, excited to talk hoop, bro.
I mean, yeah, I've been in that mode, bro. Our season, I'm assistant coach, and our season ended, and so like taking a break from basketball has given me time to just think about the NBA and college basketball and women's college basketball, and like be able to dive into those sports. And it's just been so much that I've been wanting to talk about. Like the trade deadline passed, Giannis didn't go anywhere. The last time we had a conversation, we were talking about the possibilities of where Giannis could go. Everybody that we brought up had essentially been thrown in the mix. Post that conversation, everybody kind of snooped around the teams that we thought, your New York Knicks, my Miami Heat, the Golden State Warriors. And, I came away with the conclusion, Chris, that I think somehow, some way pushing this thing off to the summer has now put the Lakers in the driver's seat to make a home run swing for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, and my thought for that is, like we said before the show, we were talking about it. Austin Reeves, bro. Like Austin Reeves being the piece to the puzzle that you come back in a trade. He's going to be looking for a contract extension. There's the sign and trade possibilities that the Los Angeles Lakers could do. That's on the table. That happens in the NBA. And so I just think Austin Reeves being a piece, I think DeAndre Ayton, there's a world where if you include him in the package, like he's an underrated piece to the puzzle to sell when you're trying to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Some picks will open up for the Lakers. Some things will open up for the Lakers. And I just think somehow, some way, we're going to get this all-time great duo in LA once again for this generation and end up with Luka and Giannis in LA. I think just waiting till the summer really raised the possibility of the Lakers being able to snoop in. I think, obviously right now, Austin Reeves was hurt. They would have been on the outside looking in on trade talks, even if they were willing to trade Austin Reeves at that moment. He was hurt, and you just didn't want to see like whether his little all-star run and the way he opened the season before the injury was a fluke or if it was something that's just what he does. And ever since he's come back healthy, like Austin Reeves is back to Austin Reeves, and he probably should have been an all-star, but barring injury and not playing enough games. But I just think the Los Angeles Lakers now have like a real shot at landing and being able to pair Luka and Giannis, like alongside them just being the Los Angeles Lakers and what it would do for the league.
Yeah, no, we talked about it last time on your show. Like the Lakers you got to watch out for the Lakers. It's like you mentioned, we talked about before, like the Lakers always get their guy. Like they always get someone. Like let's talk about, 28. We talked about 2018 before the show, like LeBron. They got LeBron James. And even going back, in the past, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Shaq. We can go on for hours talking about they always get a guy they want because it's something about the Laker brand that just screams it's showtime, right? So they always get their guy, and then boom, they get Luka. Like we didn't know that. Like we all know what we were doing when Luka got. Like I remember when I was at my mom's house. I slept over, for the weekend, and I remember just getting. And I remember we hit the group. It's like, yo, is this real? Is this? We all thought it was like a fake Shams account because there's a lot of fake stuff. But they always get their guy, and like it's not a far-fetched idea that the Lakers could get Giannis. Like that's not a crazy idea. Like we all see it's kind of the writing on the wall with LeBron in LA, and that's going to free up a ton of cap space. That's like $50 million that's going to be off the books, and they still have to, you still have to woo Luka to stay. You still need to figure out how do we get Luka.
He signed a 3-year extension already, though.
No, he didn't sign an extension yet.
If I'm not mistaken, Luka signed his 3-year extension already.
I'll double check, but I don't think he signed an extension yet.
Yeah, he did. 3 years, $161 million. Remember, he signed it like right before the season. Because it was in one of those situations where, like, was he going to wait to see if the Lakers were going to build a team around him? Is this where he was going to be? And he signed it like a 3-year.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, when was this?
So it was right before the season. So like they have Luka
Hmm.
strapped no matter what. Like in a sense, it's just you want to show Luka that you're committing the next 7 to 10
Okay, so he
years.
signed in the summer, bro. Why did I think he was still on the Mavs when he signed the extension? Okay. All right, so there's no more wooing that. So he's there. I mean, you still got to try to woo him because it's only a 3-year deal. I think it's a 2+1 too. So
Yeah.
you still got to, because he's only 20, 26, 27. So you still got to, for the future. But, the Giannis thing is real. Like, I thought the Warriors were the clear front runners for him, but I think they dropped the ball on that. And now I think they dropped down drop down in the race. I don't think it's as I thought it would, like I remember thinking, all right, the Knicks are the front runners, and then the more information I got with the Knicks, I was like, okay, they just don't have enough assets to make it happen right now. So they're actually gonna go back in the pack. And I'm like, okay, the Warriors are probably gonna jump ahead of them. They look like they were, right? It looked like it was gonna be he was going there, and then whatever happened didn't happen. They wound up trading Kaminga to Chicago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, doing some other stuff. So I don't even think that's as realistic as we maybe thought. So I think the Lakers is a real thing. The LeBron stuff, like I mentioned, makes it even more real. And pairing Giannis with Luka and AR, that's a good. And he kind of fits. He kind of fits what Luka likes to do. With the pick and roll game. Being a slasher, being a rim runner. Luka likes those type of bigs, and he's not a traditional big because he's a guy who does a lot with the ball in his hand. But I think that could help. I think that would benefit Giannis a lot. Playing off the ball, no pun intended. With Luka, and maybe will make his career last a little bit longer because he's dealing. He's been nicked up a little bit. He's had a bunch of calf injuries. He's missed some time. I think that'll save his career, but we'll see what happens. But it's the Giannis thing with the Lakers. I think they've jumped up to me as the team that's on the top of the list that will be front and center to get Giannis in this offseason.
And and what's crazy to me is where the Golden State Warriors, like, even if I'm Giannis, like the idea of playing with Steph Curry sounded like great. But for what you just said, like, I'm a guy who's already dealing with the injury. Like, this is like my second calf injury, in the past 6 months. And then you're talking about going to team up with, like, this is me going all in on my career alongside an aging Steph Curry, like, who also, like, tends to get dinged up each season and tends to miss some games. And then when you start to look at it, like, okay, it's me and Steph could win a championship together. But if Steph goes down 10 to 12 games, like, it's back to me in a worse roster than I had in Milwaukee. And like, so to even just think about that is like Steph is aging, like, and you also don't know when his body is going to tell him to shut it down. So sure, like Steph and Giannis for the next 3 years sounds amazing until Steph says, like, I'm done after 2. Like, you just don't know. Like, I think it's a year by year basis with those Steph Currys, Kevin Durant's. Obviously, with LeBron James, I think we're looking to next year will be his last year. I would assume. I mean, I don't want him to be like the Tom Brady and play till he's 45. I just think, at some point in time, I think as that type of superstar, you kind of just are staying and keeping a chokehold on the league. And like, instead of allowing them to move on, you're kind of forcing them to keep you the center of conversation and keep wondering who the next face of the league is going to be. I think we're in that era where we need a new face of the league. We don't know who it's going to be, but I just think we need to move up off of it being LeBron James being the number one headline and being a way to attract attention to the NBA. Hold on, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Sorry about that, a little audio troubles, but back to the
Oh
conversation
yeah.
with Giannis and
Well, I have a
Golden State.
conspiracy theory about LeBron.
Yeah.
I think low key Adam Silver's like, you probably should go retire. Savannah wants you gone. But we need you, big dog, because we have nobody else. We don't have the next guy yet. We need you to stick around for one more year. And then we got to hope that Wemby goes on a deep playoff run, goes to the Western Conference Finals or the finals, or goes on some magical run, and then we could officially pass the torch. So we need you for one way because, maybe LeBron probably felt maybe this is the year to go. But they're like, nah, not yet. Not yet. We need you one more year. We need to see what Wemby does in the playoffs.
But you have Luka in LA. Like
but he's not LeBron. LeBron is
Wemby isn't LeBron either. Like that's the thing. Like even with Wemby being the face of the league, we don't know if he is the next greatest of all time. Like, and I'm not saying that Luka is the next GOAT or anything like that. But when it comes to face of the league, what we know is Luka could get you to a championship, and Luka could give you 35, 10, and 8 on a night-to-night basis. Like we know that. On any given night, it's been him, Giannis, and Jokic as far as best players in the league. Of those three, Luka is the youngest. He's entering his prime. He's 26, 27 years old. Like, by just how everybody's been playing, he's got at least really 7 years of like peak elite Luka to win some championships and things like that. And being the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers in your quest to do that, I think could qualify you as the passing of the torches from LeBron to Luka. So like, I think even LeBron just sticking around I think this year would have been the perfect year to come in and say, I'm going to retire.
I would have said that.
No contract extension. Now, the only thing is, though, it's tough to tell a guy to hang it up when he could give you 22, 7, and 5.
I tell that to everyone. Everybody wants LeBron
22,
to retire.
7, and 5.
Like, yo, he's averaging 24. Like you said, his numbers are 24, 6 and 6. Like, it's still like
all-star numbers, bro. Like all-star numbers.
That gets you a max extension if you're in your 20s. Like, if you're coming off a rookie, your rookie contract, and those are your numbers, you're getting the max. And like, we need to. I hate when people try to tell player, "Oh, he needs to retire." Like, he's not like he's putting up Vince Carter numbers in year 20 or Dirk numbers, like where it's 9 points, 6 points a game. He's averaging 24 a game, 24 points a game at 41. Like, we need to just be like, all right.
Yeah, that's the LeBron conversation. Like, but here's the thing, Chris, and that's why I say like, there's maybe. When they should have did a new face of the league is they should have turned it over in about 2016 from LeBron to Steph. Now, I know LeBron was still the best player in the league. I get that. But there was a guy coming that was a more likable guy in Steph Curry. Like, he became the fan favorite. And when he won that unanimous MVP, like, Steph kind of was the cold face of the league. And if you kind of would have just took the pivot, but the thing was LeBron was with Nike. Steph was with Under Armour. It made no business sense for the NBA to fully invest into Stephen Curry while his brand and his shoe deal was with Under Armour. But had you have made him the face of the league,
that's still nasty.
That's what I'm saying. And had you made him the face of the league, though, like, I think you would have already passed the torch from Steph to one of these young guys. But like, because LeBron, but it was hard to say that LeBron shouldn't have been the face of the league when in 2016 and 2017 and 2018, he was the best player in the league. I'm not arguing that. I love LeBron, but there was a point in time where we thought it could have been Steph Curry as the face of the league. They could have committed to Steph Curry being the face of the league.
Yeah. And also, I think we've talked about this abundance of times. I think they've had like a bunch of guys who they thought were going to take the torch and run with it, and then it just burned out because off the court stuff, not playing enough games. There was a bunch of guys that we thought maybe were going to be that next guy, and nobody has taken that torch. So that's a heavy torch too, because LeBron's had that for 20 years, being the face. But he's going to retire, whether it's it's probably going to be next year, most likely. He's year 24. That's going to be. I'm interested to see how basketball is going to be viewed once he's really gone, because we know there's a lot of people who have made a lot of money off LeBron bashing, or pro. We've seen people super pro LeBron who have made a nice penny for themselves. So how does basketball talk how does it work when LeBron's no longer the focal point? You can't trash him. You can't talk about him versus LeBron, Jordan, active and all that. It's going to be interesting.
Well, my thing is with LeBron, bro, is you can't replace LeBron, but you do need to move on. Like, in a sense, you cannot replace what he did. Like, there's guys who are generational guys. Like, you didn't think
you're never going to see that again. I don't think
LeBron didn't replace what Jordan did. Still, in a sense, like as much as what LeBron did, it was in a different light than what Jordan did. Like Jordan with the shoes and the style and being a true superstar as far as being an athlete and being a superstar that went global. Like Jordan did that, and he laid the blueprint for LeBron to do things, but he didn't do as well in the shoes as Michael Jordan. Things like that. But LeBron is
no one's ever gonna be
right, but he's done his great things in his for his time though. Like he had his I Promise school, all the stuff that LeBron did. We don't have to go down the list of LeBron versus Michael Jordan, but you have to accept like the next face of the league isn't gonna be isn't going to do what LeBron James has done and probably isn't going to hold the torch as long. You might be looking at new faces of the league every 3 to 5 years, bro. It might be a fashion trend. And how long can one of the 3 best players in the league hold people's attention? You want it to be Anthony Edwards, but he got some off the court stuff. You want it to be Wemby, but and my thing is, I think everybody's so afraid of it being a European and like Wemby's because, bro, he's 7'7", like he's a taller Kevin Durant. Or 7'3" or whatever, but he's a taller Kevin Durant doing what he does. And like, so that's a freak of an athlete. That's something that's unexplainable. That could be a face of the league untouched. He signed with Nike. But I think like business, it has to be a Nike athlete. I think that's the problem.
Does he have a shoe coming out? Does Wemby have a shoe line?
Wemby already got a shoe out.
He got a shoe, right? But it needs to do numbers though.
I don't think it will, though.
I don't think it will. No, I'm with you. I don't think it will, but it has for no. I think when we talk about the face, you have to be a rock star. Like you got to be a rock star.
You know who is giving it all? You know who I think they had laid the blueprint for it to be? It was Ja Morant, bro. It was lined up for Ja Morant. Ja Morant, it was like every young kid, like Ja Morant was that dude.
His shoe would have, if everything went according to plan and we don't have the off the court BS, his shoe would have done insane. It's what's crazy? I hear people still like they like his shoes. But just
imagine with his shoes. I like Ja Morant's.
And like they're good price point too. That's another thing.
Yeah, another thing. Yep.
So like they would have done numbers. Kids, $100 shoe, that's a good shoe. That would have done, but he messed up. He messed it up. He had it all lined up. Him and Zion were supposed to be the guys. Either one of them. And it looked like Zion early on, right? Because the Zion hype was insane. And then Ja kind of took it, and it was like, oh, wait, a 6'2" guy? Like, it kind of reminded people of Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we lost Derrick Rose, but we got Ja. And it looked like it was going to be, Ja's going to be the guy. And then it never transpired. And I think the NBA, they're like, oh crap, we thought we had the 2 lined up and they're not that. And it's like,
but it's crazy, Chris, like Ja, this how I know it would have been Ja. Even right now, like Ja released his Ja 3s, and those were like the hottest shoe on the basketball court this year. Like all the kids wanted Ja Morant's as like the team shoes. Most teams,
I heard about that on a lot of circuits. That was a popular shoe,
and that's what I'm saying. So like the people, the young generation loves Ja Morant, and like because of the way a lot of this young generation is, they don't mind the off the court stuff. Like it's one of those. It's like basically, I was gonna say if David Stern had attempted to make Allen Iverson the face of the league. Like at that point in time, like it just some of the stuff that he did and I don't think nothing he did was that bad, but like it just the image wasn't acceptable at the time. It was still, I think, a little more racist and a little less accepting of that type of black man being represented. And that's why they changed.
Was fire.
Yeah, like people couldn't sleep on like
and that was what
Reebok, bro.
Reebok at that time was on the decline. And
AI had people wearing Reeboks, bro.
yeah, AI had people wearing Reeboks when Reebok was not the
You
cool
gotta
thing.
remember, bro. And I don't know what it was like. Like I know you were in New York.
That was my
But
time. That's my era. High school, like I was rocking
see,
out.
so I was in like middle school when you at the time you talk and that bro, that's AI. Everybody had you was in New York, could have been a little different, but Allen Iverson and Michael Vick jerseys, bro.
Yeah.
Like
No,
AI
no.
and Vic, bro. Now I know with you being in New York and y'all the Giants, but this I'm talking about the Falcons, Vic. Like I'm talking about the black and red, or you had the black, like you had the black
Oh no, yeah,
Philadelphia
people rocking big
76ers.
stuff. Vic was heavy on that because the Giants were not good. You know, in my time during high school, they weren't that good yet. You know, so and the Jets weren't that good either. So like, you know, it was Vic stuff is yeah, and Allen Iverson was still dope with the headband, you know, and stuff, and you know, I
But
don't know.
if you solely went on social media, then you could have went all the way in on John Morant. Like you could have continued even while he was getting in trouble. You could have continued to buy in on him being the face of the league. But the word professionalism comes into play in some of these big businesses that give out all this money in order because I'll give you 100 million because I know you can make me 300. But there's, they still have this black and white way of doing things and the way they expect you to carry yourself and things like that, as opposed to just accepting like we're in a new age world, period. Obviously. Like, have you not just scrolled through your phone and just checked the news headlines? Like, the news headlines are nowhere near what you thought they would have been 10 years ago. That's all I can say. So, like, we're just not in the same generation. And so people really latched on to John Morant, bro. Like in the YN movement. NBA Youngboy and John Morant is no, coincidence that they blew up around the same time. As far as John Morant came in the league at the right time, NBA Youngboy, it's almost like John Morant come in, walking out, listening to him, all on Instagram, all on social media. Like that was the YN movement was led by athlete John Morant and NBA Youngboy, bro. And so like he was really lined up to be that guy. And that's why he got that Nike deal. Like his charisma, he was the AI of the generation. Like that's what he was supposed to be. And then he got in trouble and it just seemed to get a little out of hand and no real lessons were learned in a sense. And because of injuries, he's never been able to outplay, bro. If you win games, bro, like Allen Iverson was getting in trouble. Allen Iverson also took that team to the NBA finals.
Yeah.
Like when you're winning games and you're available, nobody would kill John Morant if he's always available and he's giving you 30 and 10. Even if he's giving you 28 and 10, like nobody's going to say as much. Like, all right, hey man, you got to get more professional. But bro, you so good. Like Anthony Edwards had a lot of things that were kind of wild off court. But like nobody really cares because Ant giving you 30 every night. Like Ant showing up and is ready to go and giving you 30 every night. And like the Minnesota Timberwolves are a good team worth watching. So you don't really care about the stuff that goes on. And of all things, like you do it at the wrong time with a weapon. When a weapon's involved, like that's where people get, oh my God, this is such like, and he's supposed to be an example for our kids. Like people like, I don't think it's just different.
He just has the wrong people around
me. I think Ant being with Adidas is just never going to make him the face of the league because I think there's just too much money. And I don't think there's enough money on the Adidas side with the NBA and the investment. I just don't think it's there to be cool enough to kind of overtake what Nike in the NBA has going on.
Yeah, it's a Nike world.
There's enough money. Don't be surprised on the money Adidas got because don't forget they the number one soccer in the world, and that's the number one sport in the world, and they're number one for apparel for the number one sport in the world. So Adidas got a lot more money than people think, and if they really wanted to take all that money, flip it, and invest back into the NBA and get an Anthony Edwards to be a face of the league and really go back to having Adidas jerseys like there was at one point in time, don't forget they were sponsored by the NBA at one point. Like the NBA was sponsored by Adidas and we had Adidas jerseys. So if they went back to that time, if they fully invested, like then you can have an Anthony Edwards and who knows what that brand does. Like, that's a possibility too. Just saying, even though LeBron and Kobe were like faces of the league, Nike athletes at the time. But remember, like, do you remember at that time, bro, where you had team, like in the magazines and stuff, you had Team Nike versus Team Adidas?
Yeah.
And it was Kobe, LeBron, I think, like, then they tried to throw Team Jordan in there when you had Carmelo, Chris Paul and them. Then you had Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Tracy McGrady, them on Team Adidas. Like, that was a thing of, like, Adidas, Jordan, and Nike. And you had your premier athletes all over. And so I don't know, like you just can't replace. If you're looking to replace LeBron, it's not going to happen. There's nobody charismatic enough that's going to be willing to put that kind of weight on their shoulders for as long as he did. I don't think there's nobody that's going to be willing to carry that burden. And I also think that's why there's been a lot of hesitancy for the next star to step up. And I think the person that kind of really was willing to put the weight of the world on his shoulders was Ja Morant. And because once that type of spotlight, as it was getting on him, it kind of brought out some things, and the NBA and Nike and everybody had to adjust and pivot. And there's no clear cut pivot from there.
The only way thing that can, not that Ja can,
I think they would have got Ja up out of Memphis too.
They need
him face and got him to LA or something.
Yeah, he needs a fresh start, and maybe a fresh start can help rebrand his image, because right now that's what he needs to focus on is, getting his image back to where it was a few years back, where everybody loved Ja Morant.
But I don't think he gonna be lit like that in the same way anymore. Like I think that
maybe his new spot,
be more professional and have it, but he's not gonna be lit like that. Like how he took everybody by storm. Like if he rebrands and re-images, it's not gonna be in that way. I don't think.
We'll see. I mean, he still has the talent. The game has definitely declined, but maybe a fresh start, get some rejuvenated and getting back to playing the Ja that was an MVP type of player and an all-star. He's still young enough where that can still be there. So maybe he definitely will be traded this offseason. Like he's gone.
Well, I thought he was going to be in Miami, honestly. Like I thought Miami was about to pivot off of Giannis and get Ja Morant. I mean, there was really a world where I was convinced that Miami had themselves convinced in their mind that they could get Ja for the Trae Young type of deal and still swing the same assets and get Giannis. I think that was on the table. Like
I think it's still on the table.
And I do think it's possibly still on the table. But I think as far as conversation goes, like I don't think Pat Riley, maybe I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think that's what Pat Riley wanted, and he wasn't going to pull the trigger unless both were going to happen. And I think the likeliness of that being a possibility is the summer, and I think it makes a lot of sense. You pair up two of your faces of Nike together in Miami. You already got Luka, who could be a face and hold down the West Coast in the Los Angeles Lakers uniform. It doesn't have to be Giannis that you pair with Luka. Somebody else will gladly go play with Luka, where he has a team that has a possibility of winning the championship. You can hold it down on the East Coast. You still got the New York Knicks, who, regardless, Jalen Brunson is a superstar in the sense of like, his name rings bells. People come to the TVs to watch Jalen Brunson. So you got the Knicks holding down the East Coast, and then you get Miami to hold down that Southeast. You get Ja Morant. You get Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the possibility of, Bam Adebayo would be a part of that. Now, everybody else around it would probably be gone. But I think, like, that's on the table as well, because, like, another star will go play with Luka, and somebody will go play in New York, where you're like, oh, if Giannis doesn't end up in New York, how are we going to get ratings? Like, this is still the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly NBA Finals appearance team this year right now is constructed when healthy in the New York Knicks. So, like, they're very competitive with or without Giannis. So they don't need Giannis to be this relevant franchise. Jalen Brunson did enough of that, Jalen Brunson and crew, of bringing them back to relevancy. Somebody will go to the Knicks. Like, if it's about keeping them relevant alongside Jalen Brunson, like, you could get somebody over there. Somebody will go play with Luka. You already got the stars established. I think you want to light the fire, no pun intended, in that Miami market again and get a true superstar. And it's not going to be a Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo. It has to be a Ja Morant, somebody who's already basically established with their own fan base. And a Ja Morant would be perfect because he could rebrand his image in Miami while also preserving and reserving his body going through. Norm Powell talked a lot about it and how this almost has been the best version of Norm Powell, but because of the Miami Heat standard, and like, it's not about championships, take that out, but the culture and the conditioning that you have to be in order to play. So that's what they mean with culture. It doesn't mean championships, but like, it's just a different standard of playing. And if you don't like it, like, but I think Ja and Giannis are the type of athletes too. Like, Ja needs a rebrand. Everybody thinks it'd be perfect. Ja in Miami, everybody was like, anybody I talked to was like, bro, if Ja went to Miami, it'd be perfect. I think that'd be perfect for him to reboost his career, get his body back right, get his image back right. And then you throw in the Giannis, like, now you're cooking. That you got Miami, you got the Knicks, you got LA, and then we still can throw some fire in between. You got the Washington Wizards next year. Like, there's a lot of other teams that we'll be looking at. You got the Dallas Mavericks and Cooper Flag, who's a star. You got Con Knuckle and LaMelo Ball and them cooking and shot. Like, you got some things cooking where you don't necessarily need a bona fide face of the league, as opposed to you just get the right, you cover the edges, the crust good, and then you make sure everything on the inside makes sense. The crust good when you hold down the coast. If the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Southeast is held down as far as your markets go with the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Heat, everything else in between is really cooking where, like, Chris, we talking about elite basketball. Big brand, Houston Rockets still got Kevin Durant. We talking about
this year isn't over yet.
Like, we talking about Boston Celtics is a brand. Jason Tatum could come back. Like, the league ain't dead as far as enough headlines, supers, and reasons to watch the NBA. It's not dead.
No. I think, you know, it's great. I know the season isn't over yet, but next season, like, I'm geeked for next season. Next season's going to be spectacular because a lot of the teams, like the Pacers, are going to be back. LeBron's last season, you know, a lot of these bad teams, you know, might elevate because they have the number 1 and number 2 picks, you know, with this draft class coming in. So, like, next year, I know this, we still got this year a lot, and you know, we're entering the second half of the season after the break, but next year is going to be fire. I think because John Morant, where he's going to end up, you know, Giannis, obviously, like it's going to be fun. Like I said, LeBron's last season, most likely. Like,
how much do you love the Wizards? How much you love what the Wizards might have put together?
You know what? I said this before. Like, I think they're giving themselves. Yes, they're tanking, right? Duh. Like, we know that, right? But I think they're giving themselves a backup plan in case the tank doesn't work, because you could go 0-82 and get the 4th pick.
Yeah, there's no guarantee. Like, the league doesn't get you number 1.
I think they're like, okay, we're gonna tank this year, guys. But if it doesn't work and we get the 5th pick, we're just gonna be like, all right, we're gonna rock with Trey, we're gonna rock with AD, some of our young guys with SAR. We have some good young pieces.
But you still getting, if you get the 5th pick, you still get another elite young piece.
Get a good young, but it's not. I mean,
but hey, 5 to 7 might be
exactly. You can still get a hell of a point. There's, you know, Fleming, and, you know, there's abundance of guys. You know, Mikael Brown, and there's you know, there's abundance of guys you can get the 5th pick and stuff. You know, but they want the number 1 pick. They want the guy who's going to be the ticket mover, the needle mover, the Darren Peterson, the AJ DeBansa, you know, Boozer, you know, even though I think he's a tier below, but those 2 guys are the top of the tier. But they want that. But they're like, if it doesn't happen, we need to set ourselves up, because losing, eventually you got to get tired of, you know, losing like, if you're Utah, if you're a fan of the Jazz, you just got to be like, all right, guys, I get it, but can we try to win? Eventually, we have to just give up on, like, our losing is the way to go. If we get the 6th pick, can we try to win? That's why I think they got Jaren Jackson to, like, all right, let's shoot, because they got some good pieces.
But then they done sat Jaren Jackson for the rest of the year. Like, they were playing.
Yeah, like, we're gonna tank this year, guys. All right, we're gonna tank this year, and next year, if
that was egregious, Chris. What they did was egregious. Like, you traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. Cool. Like, I'm all for that. But then you were playing them for 3 quarters, and, like, they were busting tail. Like, there was one point in time where Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Keontae George all had 20-plus points going into the 4th quarter, and they didn't play at all.
They got fined and stuff. And then they found out that Jaren Jackson got
$1,000, and they're still going to continue to tank.
He had a messed up knee, too. So that's another thing that's like, you took I don't know if it's more malpractice on Memphis's medical staff, that the fact that this guy is playing with a bum knee and needs legit surgery, or that the Utah just said, maybe this is the excuse we can use to not play him. We'll take him. Don't say nothing, and we'll take him. And
he's hurt. Yep, now he's out.
Now he's hurt, guy. Oh, we didn't know that. Blah blah blah. So maybe that was like a built-in excuse they use. Like, we're gonna take your damaged goods, and just say, you know, he's out for the season then because he has a bum knee. So the tanking stuff is definitely got out of hand. But you can understand. understand. I mean, I don't like tanking, but I can understand why teams do it because this is a business at the end of the day, and you need needle movers. And Darren Peterson and AJ DeBansa and Boozer, maybe not to the degree, but those two guys are needle movers. And some of those teams in smaller markets need needle movers, and you have to try. I get it. I don't like the way teams do it because I think you can really mess up a team chemistry. And Keontae George was playing at an all-star caliber level, and now you get these random DMPs or not playing in the fourth. Larry Markkinen is like top 5 in scoring, and it's just stuff like that sucks. But this is the business of basketball, and when you have a lottery system, you got to just be in it. Because God, Lord knows if this was like like NFL where it's just like worst record, you get the number 1 pick. I mean, we see in football too, bro. We saw it this year. Like you saw the Raiders and the Giants in the Tank Bowl, and the Giants, tried everything to lose, but the Raiders are like, nope, we're gonna do it. Much Max Crosby, don't even bother, bro. He's like, yo, I'm good. Nah, you're not good. No, your fingernail? Yeah, no, you're not. So like,
yeah, but to even like give your Giants credit, they weren't in tank mode until their quarterback, until their quarterback was hurt. Like they weren't really.
They weren't really in tank mode. They just weren't good. They just were losing games.
But they were dropping like flies. I mean, they kept Jackson Dart playing the whole season. Like they weren't.
How many games to be below?
Yeah, they were essentially trying to lose, though. Like, there were games where, like, it wasn't like they're just like, we're going to hand it off. We're going to hide Jackson Dart. We're not, like, they were out there letting him try and ball. The offensive line was, but, like, you saw why they would tank. Like, I'm just saying, I get it. Like, oh, well, if I'm not going to win a championship, then why wouldn't I tank? But, like, if you did that for the NBA, then 27 teams should tank. Only probably 5 teams could win a championship.
We didn't have a lottery system in basketball. Oh my god, dude, the tanking.
Do you think it would really be worse in basketball though?
Yes, because if you have the worst record, you get the number 1 pick. So you definitely tank. You don't think teams would not play any. You don't think the Pacers right now or the Wizards right now would just be like, no one's playing. G Leaguers, that's it. Because if we get the worst record, we know we have the number 1. It would be so bad.
But I just feel like at some point in time, and like maybe like I'm not saying get rid of the lottery, but you got to figure out a way to prevent like this tanking again. It pops up like every probably 5 to 6 years.
This is the most egregious though.
Overboard. Like that's what I'm saying. Like every 5 to 6 years, we kind of talk about tanking in the NBA. And it's always because teams tend to take it overboard. And probably about every 5 to 6 years, you get these draft class like it's worth tanking for. It's pretty deep or whatever it is. Like I think those go hand in hand. So, but the thing is, like, you still are a league that at the end of the day is ran by, you're in entertainment. Like you said, it's a business, but it's also in the entertainment business. And so, like, people pay to be entertained. Like, I don't think, like, and it's already, they're not playing back-to-backs. There's worlds where when they come up off an injury, if you really want to see your favorite player, you got to figure out which game they're going to play. And you don't really 100% know until an hour before because everybody's trying to hide the injury report. Like everything that they're doing right now to the league is like they're damaging it and they don't have to. Like we don't have to go about all of our business this way. Like my thing is, bro, like why not a lot of the Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic plays a lot of back-to-backs, bro. Like while people can say whatever they want about him, like he plays a lot of back-to-backs. Luka, when healthy, plays in a lot of back-to-backs. Like being available for the fans does matter. And like if we're going to play this like only 5 teams have a chance of winning a championship, then why not just flood those 5 teams and let them stack 3 or 4 superstars and go to war, and all of y'all just kind of play from behind and see if you could catch up one day in the future. Like that's where I get to the point. Like we're just going to let everybody tank or everybody, bro, you're playing starters and then in a tight game, you're sitting them in an entire fourth quarter. That's egregious, bro.
The problem with the NBA,
sorry, but that you should be fined. You should be like, hey, you lose like 3% on your lottery odds. So if you land on 3rd and your lottery odds is 7, they now go down to 4. Like you should lose a percentage.
I think they should go back to not, because right now it's a flat lottery. Like the top 3 teams have the same percentage. I think it should go back to the old system where like the number one, whoever has the worst record has the highest odds. 2, where it's the second best odds, and 3, it's not just a flat. Because teams, the smaller markets need to have some type of hope too. You got to give them some type of hope. But if the worst team is losing 67 games and they're going to get the 5th pick, the system needs to change, but it's kind of tough to figure out what's the correct way to go about it. Like there's no, like I heard people say like, let's just go who worst record. I was like, oh, then we're like I just said, we're going to get tanking worse because now if you get the worst record, you know you're going to get the number 1 pick. It's going to be even more egregious. We're going to see guys like they're going to be calling you up, bro. They're going to be like, yo, Mo, how's your ankle, bro? Can you play run point for 15 minutes? Like it's going to be like that. We're going to see we're seeing random. Look, I watched it was Knicks Pacers. So I forgot dude's name, but I forgot his name, but he was giving us work. And I'm like, who is, and you know me, I know a lot of the kids coming out of college. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. He gave us 20, which also shows us there's so much talent too, like that we don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But like the Pacers, like, but also to this, if the Pacers get the number 1 pick, it was worth it. It was worth tanking. If they get
whoever gets the number 1 pick, like it's always going to be worth it. Like
be worth it.
The Raiders, you don't think they feel like they're sitting in a prime position we got a new head coach with the number 1 pick with the possibility of taking whatever, we can take whatever player, we can go whatever direction we want with getting a new head coach. Yes, it is always worth it. And you know, if you win the lottery and you get AJ DeBance or Darren Peterson or Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson, like whoever it may be, that yes, you're going to be dancing for joy, but there's just got to be a better way of going about it, bro. Like, because
what would be if you're put your commissioner for the day, and I say, yo, we got to fix this. What do you do?
Bro, we're dropping percentages. Like, I will
tell you dropping percentages. Like
like if you know, so like top 3 is flat, right? So if you get
flat, keep it to 15%, 15 or whatever it is, 13%.
But if you're tanking, like if you do what the Utah Jazz did, you're gonna lose.
You're gonna lower their odds.
So if you land in the top 3, you'll still be 3rd because you'll be at 13, they're at 15. Okay. Like I will tag your lottery odds percentage. That's what I will penalize along with a fine. I'll take money out your pocket and I'll penalize your lottery odds. I'm not saying that's the perfect system.
You know what? I think what hurts teams more, forget about the money, because a $500,000 fine is nothing for these teams. That's where you hurt them, is like, oh, you're purposely tanking, like you said, like you have the number 1.
Steal my incentive.
You go from 15%, you're going to go down to 10% now. So now you have the same odds as the team that lost 50 games instead of the team that lost 65 games, you know? Or another thing is, if you're constantly in the lottery or you're in the top 3, that your number gets lower too. So let's say you're Utah. Let's say 3 years in a row they've been top three. That 3rd year, you no longer have the same odds because you're not going to get rewarded for being ass. So we're going to drop you.
Start messing with them lottery odds.
Listen, we in the to me the NBA. This is what frustrates me. We penalize the good teams that like OKC. They're going to have to figure out a lot of things because they can't keep all their guys. Yet they develop these guys. They just won a championship. Teams like the Spurs are going to have to go through it in a few years with all their guards. They're not going to keep all their core. Why are we penalized? Boston had to get rid of their whole team that won a championship just last year. We penalize the good teams for doing the right thing, right? For growing their team, developing team, winning culture. And we're like, nope, apron. You can't keep all these guys. You got to trade them, blah, blah, blah. You know, repeater tax. We're going to tax you this. We're taxing you for winning. But the teams that lose don't get any get no penalties. So if you want to be asked every year, well, guess what? We're gonna hurt your chances. So to make you be like, all right, you know what, tanking's now, it's not gonna be worth it, because guess what? If we go back into the lottery, we're gonna have a 5% chance, and it's the same percent chance as the Bulls who won 42 games. We're gonna have the same odds as them. All right,
But you know what the problem is, though, Chris? You know what the problem is when these elite classes come along, the NBA media has bought in more to the worst teams in the league and how they're going to get AJ Debinsa. The NBA media has kind of bought into, they almost cover college basketball more than they cover the NBA because they're talking about how the worst teams in the league are going to be able to acquire these elite prospects coming in. And basically, it's like you're selling product that's not even on the shelf yet. When you got your top sellers are sitting on the shelf ready to be sold and you're not selling them, you're selling product that hasn't hit the shelf yet with no promise that when it does, it's gonna be the thing that grabs the people's attention. And so you're basically making this conversation of the lottery and this and that really matter. And so it becomes a thing like, well, we tank and we get this guy because it'll wow everybody because everybody's talking about Darren Peterson, not saying that you shouldn't be talking about Darren Peterson, not saying you shouldn't be talking about Cameron Boozer because you should, but like college basketball to me is back like bigger than the NBA again. And I think it fell off a little bit to where we're not really, there was a time for about 4 or 5 years where I really was like, bro, college basketball is in a doozy right now. And like its only relevance is the fact that I think the March Madness tournament is the most relevant and greatest postseason event outside of the Super Bowl, you know, at least in the United States of America. Like nothing is like March Madness as far, even the college football playoff is nothing like March Madness when you talk about the field, the environment, just what people tune in for when it comes to college basketball. But now, like, bro, regular season is taking over the headlines in hoops world.
Yeah.
Like, because you're buying into, you got 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are must-see TV at the college basketball ranks, but like you're not selling your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 guys at the NBA rank, which then now what gives me the incentive to go out here and bust my ass every night, play back-to-backs, try and play 82 games. If I'm not injured, I'm going to play, even if I play hurt. And like the product that you're selling is still the product that's about to come in. Like you ain't selling me. You want me to work. But then like you're not selling me. You're not getting me to be a superstar level. I'm giving people 30 a night, but they don't talk about me at all. Like even on these good teams, like we're not even focused on Luka and the Lakers and this, that. And when they do talk NBA, they pick 3 teams and 3 subjects, and that's what they go on. And you're a Knicks fan, so you benefit from being one of those teams, one of those places, being part of that media that's always going to be relevant, especially in the basketball and football world. So for you, they're going to talk about your team. They're going to talk about the Lakers. But the rest of the league fans, like you get tired of, bro, if you're either not talking ball at all, or it's always about what the Lakers or Knicks are going to do, especially a superstar becomes available. The trade deadline conversation, the 2 weeks leading up to the trade deadline, and the trade deadline conversation is bigger than anything that's happened in the NBA so far, Chris. And we got Con Knuppel hooping out his mind. We got Cooper Flagg hooping out of his mind. Like we got some young guys that we could be paying attention to. The Charlotte Hornets, you could be talking about what it could look like in 3 years if they keep this core together, what moves they could make. You could be trying to build up the Charlotte Hornets and LaMelo Ball. Seems like he finally bought in. Like you said, the Pacers just were in the NBA Finals. They're probably joining the tankathon, it seems like. But the possibilities of like what it'll look like when Tyrese Halliburton comes back, if they're able to get this pick, like, but we're so focused on what the Lakers are going to do, what the Knicks are going to do, and then what Miami's going to do. And then if we're not, we're worried about tanking. Like we're worried about what the next wave of prospects is coming in because we haven't sold anything other than LeBron James. And so everybody's so tired of talking about LeBron James. They trying to sell this next product because you feel like you done passed up the window of all these current guys. And Wemby, to me, still isn't available and consistent enough at a superstar level to be that true face of the league. Like he hasn't done enough yet. I can see it coming. I can see a run and he get to the NBA Finals or get to the Western Conference Finals this year. Boom, we crown him. Next thing you know, he's going to be competing for championships in San Antonio. But he hasn't done that yet. So to just give it to him off of being freakish athletic, he doesn't even put, like his numbers hasn't topped Luka or Giannis or Jokic or Anthony Edwards or Jalen Brown. Like there's a bunch of guys playing with numbers wise, playing better than Victor Wembanyama. Like potential, yes, but he's not a top 5 player in the league right now. So we're saying he could be the future face of the league, but we're still not selling. Like to me, I don't think Jalen Brunson is a big enough superstar because his game isn't flashy, but like Jalen Brunson give you 30 a night damn near. Like he's giving you damn near 30 a night, but it's not Allen Iverson like flashy. So, but this is a true star player in New York. Isn't that what everybody was salivating for? But he did it organically, made himself a star. So they're not selling him like that.
Yeah. And
he didn't come in as a star, so they're not selling him like he really. I thought the best player on the New York Knicks that got a team to the Eastern Conference Finals, I literally, especially a point guard like Jalen Brunson, who got it out the mud. I think he was a 5-star in high school, so I'm not going to act like, life wasn't good, but I'm just saying as far as the respect and as far as him becoming a superstar, like he took the steps and then was given the platform and did his thing with the New York Knicks. You would think that guy would be blown up. Jalen Brunson jerseys everywhere. I just feel like even he's not a big enough superstar for what he is for the New York Knicks because the focus isn't there on the actual NBA product. It's on everything else.
And that's what the NBA needs to do is because the NBA, too much focus is on the negativity of the league and not enough on the positive stuff, like the great young talent that's in the league. There's so much good young talent. A lot of teams have multiple young guys that you're like, oh God, if he clicks, if he figures it out, man, the Hornets, we talk about the Hornets, the Wizards have a few guys. You're like, okay, maybe if this minus Sacramento Kings, they're probably the only team where you're like, all right, they don't have anybody right now you feel good about, but
they got nothing looking over there.
But it can literally change if they get a top 2 pick, that can all change, and we could be like, oh, AJ DeBanza or Darren Peterson on the Kings. Maybe the Kings can figure this out finally. But it needs to get more focused on the positivity and focus. We're so focused on like, oh, LeBron James is really, he should be retiring, or who's the face of the league, like who's tanking and this and that and blah blah blah. Like every team we talk about, it always has a negative connotation to it. And the NBA needs to fix that, because if they want to get more positive press and be more negative, and if they want to change the narrative, they have to figure out these things so that we could talk about the mainstream media, because that's where it starts at. We all know there's a bunch of great podcasters and stuff. If you want to know more about the Hornets and these teams who talk about not talking about the BS, you could find it, but it has to start at the top. And we all know we live in a world where negativity sells. NBA needs to figure out, because it's the most popular as far as social media. The NBA they're great with their social media, and what's great is that they let content creators and whoever allow them to use their content. They want you to use their content. They want it to be pushed out, but there's still a negative connotation towards basketball, and they need to figure out how do we get people back and talking about it positive. Every time I watch, I don't watch a lot of ESPN and a lot of mainstream because it's always negative stuff, but it's always negative. It always leads with a negative thing, and it's is this person ruining his legacy? Is this blah blah blah? We get it got to get back to talking about basketball in the positive way. Yes, there's things that need worked on, but there is a lot of good things happening in basketball. Right now people are gonna be talking about the dunk contest and how it's bad, get rid of it. Blah, blah, blah. Why is that a focus? That shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be like, okay, second half of the season, can the Pistons keep it up? Can they continue their surge as the number 1 seed in the East? They have a 5.5 game on Celtics. Boom. The Celtics. Can the Celtics go to the finals without Jason Tatum? This Jaylen Brown surge. Can the New York Knicks finally get to the NBA finals for the first time in 26 years? There's so many good stories. Can Cleveland
James Harden the right move? Like does that put Cleveland where they're supposed to be?
Get to the finals? And is this the move the Cavaliers needed? All right. Can the Sixers surge with this young, with these great young players? Can Embiid finally
get
to the conference finals? With all like there's so many. Can the Raptors are the Raptors? Can they do something with their young core? Can OKC repeat? San Antonio. Can San Antonio with Wemby? Can he take that next leap? There's so Denver Nuggets, great. Jamal Murray makes his first All-Star game. Now, can he take that lead to be a elite level point guard?
Did get a championship this year?
Can KD lead the Rockets to the championship and finally get the respect he needs? Deserves. The Lakers. That's a great story. Can Minnesota get back to the conference finals for the third straight year? They did the same thing last year. They struggled. Boom, they're in the conference finals. Can Anthony Edwards take that next step and be that top echelon? Can be the face of the league? All that. The Suns were dead. We thought they were dead. Cooked.
We thought they were going to be a horrible franchise. Dylan Brooks probably should have been an all-star, bro. Like that's
he's a winning player.
He's the villain, bro, and I get it. And I know he's been on these streams with like these streamers, and he's kind of bought into being the villain. That's cool. Like, and I get, with Memphis and him and the Lakers and those series, and he's kind of turned himself, even when he was at Houston, like he's made himself a hated guy. But like you take your personal feelings out of it. Like this dude is a hooper and was playing all-star level like all season. Like the Phoenix Suns are a good team, and Dylan Brooks was leading that team a lot of times when Devin Booker was out. Yeah. Devin Booker has missed some games, and Dylan Brooks going 25 a night without Devin Booker. Like I just there's so much basketball that you can talk about, and like the thing is,
that's what I'm saying.
It trickles down. Because there was like even in college today, bro, there was great college basketball on all day.
Good game right now, Arizona.
Great games all right now. And college basketball analysts talk about it. Like I was watching College Game Day this morning, and like you could tell, this is a great day. I kind of like this is a great day of college.
Positive, good because
they're talking about the matchups. They're this and that. It wasn't about it. Of course, they had to touch on, ABC and ESPN is going to make them touch on this NIL stuff, blah, blah, blah. But that didn't take the College Game Day in the chokehold. Like, you knew who was playing today. You knew Arizona had a tough game. Like, everything, and I know that's where College Game Day was, but they focused on talking about basketball, and you got so much, and all they just want to sell, like, they're selling their future product. But what happens is it has something to do with the networks, because what you see is you watch elite analysts decline.
Well, yeah,
Kendrick Perkins first came on ESPN. He was great at first. Like people really liked Big Perk when he was talking ball. Remember, he came on First Take and he was challenging Stephen A. because Perk does this. Like I played in the NBA. I was one of the best players in high school coming out. Like I was an elite prospect. I was good in the NBA. I won a championship, and I know basketball, and I taught basketball. And then it gave too much of a pushback for Stephen A. And then they start, like now Perk getting handwritten notes of what he's going to be talking about today. And it's not basketball. And you want to, every time those guys and him and Richard Jefferson try and turn the conversation like, yeah, we can talk about that, but let's go back to the negative. Because at the same time, I'm not a guy. I don't think that you have to be a former NBA player to talk about the NBA. I don't think you have to be a former great.
I don't like that.
I'm not on that side, but I do think there has to be some type of way of filtering. Like, just do you know basketball? Can you talk?
It's simple.
Can you debate basketball? Like, can we say if you don't trash any of the human beings, can you just have a conversation about why this team, can you tell me why this team is the best team in the league in your opinion without trashing everybody and creating all this negative stuff and just talking basketball? Like, well, I would take them because this, that, and the other, this player playing like this, they got this, da, da, da. Can you do that? If you can do that and like your passion is behind basketball, then I think that's where you have to go back to. And I know it's tough. Negativity sells in all cultures, like in the music, everything.
Just look at the way the country is going right now.
Negativity is what sells. But at the same time, like when it comes to basketball, like you could separate basketball where people could you could go back to, we just get back to the essence of basketball. And you don't need everybody to be X's and O's guys. Like that's not what you need. The Stephen A. Smiths and the Nick Wrights and the Chris Broussard. You need the NBA personalities. You need those guys whose knack is being able to talk sports and with a personality attached to it. But they got to buy back into not the biggest headlines and actually talk about the love of the sport. And then the tides will change because not everything has to be negative. We can talk about the good side of basketball. Not everything has to refer down to tanking and da-da-da, and even in college with NIL. Like, if we just talk about the sport and the product of the sport, like college basketball has been one of the best years in a while. In my opinion, like there's a lot of good, but you have to watch. That's another thing. You have to watch basketball in order to talk basketball.
Well, that's the thing too. Is
You can't score watch and then come in here and try and have a good conversation. You're gonna get exposed.
Everybody has a phone, and it's so easy. Instead of watching it, and I remember somebody brought this up to me, like, "Yo, what?" They asked me, "Yo, why do you think the ratings have declined in basketball?" And I was like, people, because of this, because we all have this, and it's so easy to pick it up and just go on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and just go online and just see a clip. And listen, Mo, we can know what's going on in the league without ever watching a full basketball game, a full 40-minute basketball game. You can know everything what's going on in the league without having to watch a full basketball game. Like there's people right now that they that's what they do. They don't even watch the game. They just go online, they see the clips, and they base, and there lies the issue too, is we have a lot of that. We have a lot of people who are just watching clips online and basing opinions and, you know, basing players off strictly off highlights, you know, and not watching the games. And that's a problem too, but it's also a good thing for the NBA because it's like, all right, people aren't watching the games, but we're still getting massive hits on social media. We're probably getting the most hits out of all the sports because we want people to use our content to whether
we
it's
allow so much open access.
Yeah, because if you try to if you use a basketball clip and you use it on your YouTube, you won't get a strike. They'll tell you, NBA is good with that. Where the NFL, baseball especially, that's a problem with baseball. They don't allow that, and they hit you with strikes. And it's the accessibility. But the NBA needs to figure out, okay, we have a stranglehold on the short clip world. We have that. We're the kings of that. How do we translate that to people to sit down and listen? We all know it's tough in today's era because there's so much to do, right? There's so much things to do. There's so much content to consume that sometimes it's hard to focus on, you know, watching a game where I could just be like, you know what, I don't have to watch it. I'll in the morning I'll go watch the 15-minute clip that they'll post on NBA YouTube account and I'll watch the highlights that way, you know. So, you know, it's the NBA needs to figure out something that they can get the fan to actually watch the game and just be more engaged and actually, so if they want more positive, you know, feedback, they have to get that. But I think that's just tough and nowadays, just because of the attention span's not there, Mo. People just don't. It's not like when I was growing up, where that's all we had to watch the game. There was no Twitter. There wasn't even youth in high school. I didn't have YouTube. YouTube wasn't a thing till like I was like a senior senior high school, and it still was like it wasn't like how it was now. So like I had to go watch Lebron. I had to go on ESPN and watch that game, even if it meant I'm gonna be tired to go to school, but I had to go watch LeBron at 10 o'clock versus Melo again and the Nuggets. I had to watch that, you know, or I had to wait the next morning to watch Sports Center at the 6 a.m. Sports Center to see what will happen. So, but we just don't have that because it's so easy to just click your phone and boom, I could see what's going on.
The problem is, and then we'll move off and kind of close out the show, but like the problem is, bro, we need more analysts to have passion for basketball, not a passion for attention. Like that's the thing. Like they'll get on there and say, "What's
that doesn't sell." You're not going to get subscribers, Mo, because if you do what I do, you do what you do. We like people like us should have thousands of subscribers, because you know when I do the draft content and I do all this and I do insights and I talk to scouts and all this, you know, we're talking hoop, we're talking X's and O's and how do you develop player. I should be having thousands of subscribers on YouTube. I should be making money off this. I make a little change, but not it should be a living. But I know people who just yell and don't know what they're talking about, and they have 10,000 subscribers, 100,000. Yeah. I know one person, he doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know who, 100,000 subscribers. And you're just like, if I just yelled and just said, and titled everything, LeBron's the most overrated player of all time. Guess what? You're going to be people are so mad at that headline. It's going to get people to come in, and it could just be me nonsense, but that makes no sense. Or if I said this player, if it's a negative headline, guess what? It's going to get clicks. But if I say something positive, like, oh man, LeBron's a great passer. His passing this season's been good. 10 views, 15 views, 20 views, maybe 50 views. with just the world we live in is just I don't know if that's going to change any, especially with the world climate where it is, where that's all there is negativity. That's what sells, and I don't get it. It bothers me because there's a lot of great content creators who know what they're talking about. We know that.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We I always talk about Kev, our guy Kev. That dude knows everything about college basketball. Everything. Yeah. You could talk to him right now and be like, yo, how do you feel about Sacramento State versus Murray State? And he'd be like, yo, this dude, I think this dude, they just got this kid from blah. And you're like, damn, bro, I thought I knew college basketball. This dude should be a superstar somewhere. There's so much great talent, but he's not negative. He's not negative. Yeah. And it's like, I know people who are on these major networks talking college basketball and they're just negative, but that's what sells. So I don't think it's going to change, Mo. It's just the world we live in. And it's just, it's a whole new world. And unfortunately, to sell, you got to be negative. I don't like being overly negative. It's just not my thing. It's not in my DNA. Did I tell you, I remember I was supposed to do something for Bleacher Report. And they wanted me to talk negative about Kyrie Irving. And I was like, I really like Kyrie Irving, though. Like, that's my guy. I can't. And I'm trying to fake it. I was trying to fake. I couldn't do it. I think they saw that. I was like, I actually like Kyrie, but they wanted me to just hate on him, to say negative shit. I was like, this is crazy. But guess what? If I'd done it genuinely, I would have been on the show. And I saw the show they did. I was like, damn, that's what they want now. They want the Jubilee stuff that we see. That's what sells, dog. And it's crazy. But it's not. That's just, I don't. I'll talk about something, and if I don't agree with it, but you just make content off negativity, is not in my DNA. But that's what sells, dog. But it's crazy, but that's
it is wild that's just the world we live in. But it was a great conversation being able to talk a little bit of basketball, talk about the politics of the league. That's kind of been the conversation up to this point for the All-Star game. And everything that we said within this conversation, I would love for anybody that listened to go back and just check out the Phoenix Suns and check out the Charlotte Hornets and check out their box scores and see who's really hooping. Take the All-Star break. Nobody's playing the game until Thursday. Take the All-Star break away from the NBA, catch up and watch a couple of these teams and check out, a half of this team here, a half of this team there, and spend some time and get re-acclimated with the game. And get back to wanting to really love and watch basketball. And you'll be surprised at how good the NBA has actually been this year, minus what they're selling you as far as the negativity and the teams tanking and what's egregious. It should tell you enough that they're trying to put the focus on the Utah Jazz. We care enough about what the Utah Jazz are doing that we're even worried about them taking. And kind of insane in itself. That's how negativity sells is you know what? Utah Jazz are taking so egregiously. We can make this a headline and make people actually care about the Utah Jazz and what they're doing and paying attention to how they're doing it. And like I said, watching the game where they're Lori Markin and them are going to work for 3 quarters and you don't play them in the 4th quarter at all. And this would be a topic of another conversation, but don't get me started where tanking plays into the gambling business that you so buy into as a league, as all leagues, y'all buy into the gambling business, but also allow tanking without major consequences. Something like that there should be some type of consequence. Not saying that it should matter on the person that bet on Lori Markkinen's over and he scored 22. And all he needed was 25 and he didn't play in the 4th quarter. It's not about that, but you're selling on every commercial, on every ad, on people's phone screens, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube to gamble and player props and prize picks and put all these in their face to invest into your sport and bet on the players that you're selling. But then you're willing to watch the product tank itself into the ground. But that's a conversation for another day. I'm Coach Mo. That's Chris LeBron. We'll catch you on another episode of the Coach Mo Murphy Show / the Off the Ball Podcast. Peace, love, stay out of negative things. Everybody be positive, be safe, and we will catch you on another episode.